Hey everybody, today's words to live by are simple kindness to one's self and all that lives is the most powerful transformational force of all. And that is from Dr. David Hawkins in the book Power versus Force. So I like to think of this as the difference between pushing and lifting. So force always pushes, right? You push with force. Real power lifts. And in fact, in weightlifting, it's called a power lift. Your arms and shoulders and legs and everything, it's power lift. They don't call it a force lift, right? So I think too often we mistake force for strength. I think it's a societal thing. And I think too often here in the year 2025, it's sadly become mainstream for people to mistake force for real strength or transformational strength. And so force to me involves things like pressure, pushing, control, bullying, loudness, even like people who talk really loud and they scream and people think, well, wow, that must be a symbol of strength. And it's anything but that. It's like total BS. It's all bark and no bite, right? And so here we sort of flip it around and we start to understand that power flows from truth and alignment with your heart and your soul, right? And your mind. And kindness. Yes, kindness. And it transforms without coercion or any of the ugliness that force sort of has. So if you don't believe me, just think about the people that you relate to really well and the environments you get motivated in and what makes you excited to sort of do work and transform and sort of get busy living with your purpose, right? They're all things that are sort of rooted in kindness. They're never anything that's bullying or sort of mandated or coercive about it. Those aren't transformational. They might get the job done or they might win the game one time, right? But they're not transformational forces of change. And so I have to tell you that the first time I read about it in this book, and that quote, by the way, is on page 150. The first time I read about it was years ago. So this particular edition of the book that I have, I think was published in 2012. And so it was sometime after that. But when I read about it, it made so much sense, but yet it wasn't obvious or it wasn't sort of top of mind for me. So then I became more mindful about it in my own life. And I've never tried to not be kind. I don't think many people really have, but it's just being more mindful and aware of it. And so I think what became so obvious was simple, and we tend to overcomplicate everything, right? And so that is another bullet point there to say that simplicity sometimes and the most obvious thing can be so profound. So think of it this way: force compels and then it fades. Power attracts and then it endures long after force has run its course. So kindness is the key ingredient to power. That's what Dr. Hawkins is telling us, and it's rooted in decades worth of data about energetic frequencies and vibrations and things that actually transform for good for a long period of time. So kindness is not weakness. It is actually proven to be strength. It's strength that is focused and channeled productively. So where are the places that we need to look at kindness in our lives? And it's two places. One is to ourselves, and the second is to other people. So often to ourselves, we talk badly, our inner voice, our inner monologue gets negative. We treat ourselves worse than we treat other people sometimes. And so that's the first place to sort of look at where kindness can transform the inner you. Then when we're looking at other people, we look at things like respect and patience and generosity. And so how does that change our relationships when we add a little bit extra kindness? How much more powerful do those relationships become? I can tell you they become way more powerful because I've tried this and I've become more aware of how I'm treating other people in addition to how I'm treating myself. And the result is always more power. So that's the thing, is you start to notice how the relationships and the moods of everybody changes, and how it transforms into something way more productive and frankly more fun too. So in fact, it's something called empowerment, right? So I think the takeaway here is, if you were to just take a really short synopsis of everything I just said, it's that force shoves, power lifts, and it lifts up. And kindness is the key ingredient to power. So I hope you enjoyed today's reflection. If you did, please like and or subscribe, and I will see you all again soon.